So from Top Shelf Tuesday, actually, I got to say it's pretty much more of the same, but from a very Journe-centric feature, we inaugurate our first Watch You Want Watch Reviews Watches Live. Now, I'm going to be blazing through some of my favorite pieces from our Govberg Watch You Want pre-owned inventory tonight, sort of doing my old-style watch reviews, albeit live and interactive. So I'll be taking your questions. I can already see some of my friends from the last broadcast joining us tonight. Eddie Landsberg, once again, first, you were the man. Scott Hockenberry, Lee Cohen, I can see Edward Layden joining us, Emilio, Eric, and Mark. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Don Gizzle, Thumper JDM, and Juan. Horology Blog, I'm glad to see you. All right, so tonight we've got everything from AP to Zeitwerk, and we've got it all on two pallets on the table. So I'm watching the chat box, guys. I'm answering your questions. I'm also giving away free stuff. So remember to send your name, address, and phone number so I can reach out to you and actually send you the stuff to our email, watcheslive@govbergwatches.com. That's watcheslive@govbergwatches.com. Also, if you see something you really like, give my friend Josh a call. My buddy from the Friday This Week in Watches will be standing by if you actually want to make one of these yours. Okay, so first thing, I promised you AP to Zeitwerk, so let's start with a Rockstar. Now, this is a watch that came out in 2016. I have to say, all things considered, Josh didn't like it. I loved it, and here's why. The combination of color, the combination of a diveable strap, this is the hand-cut natural vulcanized rubber strap, the combination of the twin register vintage style chrono, and the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 42 for me was the total package. Now you get all of the upgrades that came with the 2014 class of 42mm offshores. That means the reprofiled crown guards, still hand beveled, hand tapered, albeit instead of with a nitrile covered set of pushers and crown shoulder, you get the full ceramics. Now the other thing that came online in 2014 for the offshores was the, let me try to get a good look there, was the display case back. The first time we saw a display case back on an offshore 42 was on the Yarno Truly. Now here you're looking at the modified version that mates with the 3841 twin register module. This is known as the Audemars Piguet 3124. Now it's a 60-hour power reserve. It's in-house, free-sprung with a textile Gyromax balance. It's very tough, and it features a 22-karat gold engraved rotor with the coats of arms of Audemars and Piguet. Remember, the company is still run by the founding families, the oldest in Switzerland to be able to boast that. Now, the watch also has a little bit more ruggedness built in than your standard Royal Oak, because while those non-divers are 100 meters water resistant, this one is 300 meters, and it's an ISO diver. But what really sets it apart, when I talk about ISO, I mean the 6425. That's the statute since 1996 that codifies what a dive watch is. Now this is what I really love, because when I was in college, I had a rotating bezel sports watch. This one's internal ratcheting, so you can't accidentally displace it. When you line up the triangular index with the minute hand, now you can time something, and it is fully loomed, so you can see the bezel at night. You can time something using the minute hand, even as you operate the chronograph. So the combination of the two lets you time two concurrent events. Now here's the other thing about this watch. It has a genteel older brother, perhaps you've met. The reference 15202. Now this is the OR, this is rose gold. It's important to remember that a precious metal jumbo is a special breed. The watch was originally conceived in steel. Most have been manufactured in steel. What you see here is a little bit of a deviant, and glorious for it. Now the watch is incredibly slim in profile. Take a look at that. That's 8.3 millimeters in profile. Everything you expect in the original Gerald Genta design. Note the difference between how the bezel gasket is expressed in the offshore and the original. Here it's overwhelming, it's structural, it's a physical part of the watch and a layer of the machine-inspired design aesthetic. Here on the Genta, as with everything else, it's muted, understated, present but it's in the background. Now the dial itself, for those of you who are watching at home, the dial itself is the Petite Tapisserie. One of the key changes for the 2012 series, when the signature AP returned to the 6 o'clock station, is that we also got a monotone date disc, a small touch, but one that makes the dial that much more coherent. Now on the back, and this is half the fun of the watch, is the veteran caliber, originally conceived in 1967. Let me get a good view of the balance for you, see if I can show you that. We got that, Harrison? Okay. Now that's known as the 2121 in Audemars Piguet parlance, but when JLC designed it for AP, Vacheron, and Patek in 1967, it was known as the 920. Ultra slim at under 3 millimeters as a bare movement. It features an annular winding system, I should say, which means you see the hand-engraved and skeletonized winding mass, but it's actually a ring that goes all the way around the movement. Only the gold portion is visible. The ring itself, when I say annular, it circles the movement and pivots on 4 ruby rollers. That's how it actually winds the watch. Because the winding system is in the same plane as the bridges, it almost has the thickness of a micro rotor. It also has a Gyromax style balance, so free sprung, and a charming vintagey beat rate of 19,800 that you hardly ever see anymore. Hand finished, as good as it gets. AP and JLC, that's pretty much an ideal combination for me. Now I do want to announce, guys, that we're going to be giving away our first little bit of swag right now. And let me double check my inbox to see who won. And it's going to be a Tag Heuer hat. So here's the thing about Tag Heuer. It's a brand on the rebound. They've issued some great vintage tribute watches. They've really got in touch with their heritage. The long-stalled CH80 movement is back in production now, and you can see it in the Ottavia re-edition. Now this is a watch that I think gives the brand a lot of credibility, and alongside, for instance, the Monza reissue, the Monaco reissues, and some really heartfelt entries in the Carrera line, Tag Heuer is a brand on the rise. So this watch is going to be going to, or I should say this watch-themed hat is going to be going to one of our viewers. I am checking my email, and our first winner is Henri. Henri, congratulations, you are the man. This hat is now yours. So we're giving away free stuff, and I've got more tag hats, and I've got some ties from Patek that I picked up at the Grand Exhibition. All right, guys, let me go to the chat box and see how we are clipping along. Okay, first things first, I see Jersey Gang, QWERTY, checking in right there. I see we have viewers from Silicon Valley and Bulgaria. Thumper JDM commenting, that gold AP is a grail, you have no idea. The level of hand finish on the bezel, the case, the lugs, the bracelet. Let me just show you what it means to buy a Royal Oak. You're getting something that is artisanally hand finished. It takes about 11 hours to execute that case and bracelet. You can even see how the mirrored bevel of the lug flows into the links of the bracelet. That's the kind of thing that a machine can't achieve. It takes love, guys, and it takes work by hand. This is old school. Holy Trinity? Oh yeah. Okay, so I promised you from AP to Zeitwerk. Let's move along to, well, heck, a personal favorite. Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Extreme Lab 2, guys. We first saw this watch in 2010. Now JLC is the watch, watch that digital chronograph, there you go. JLC is the watchmaker's watchmaker, and when it takes 4 years for JLC to bring a watch to market after showing the prototype, you know it has serious complication chops. It's a GMT. It has a radial power reserve across the top of the dial. It has a digital jumping chronograph indication, a 24-hour sub-register for the chronograph hours, second time zone at 6 o'clock, and a coaxial GMT hand at center. It features, and let me see if I can show you this to good advantage, 2 column wheels, one for the chronograph, and one, if I can cycle the function selector for the crown, it actually shows you in the aperture next to the date which function is currently selected. There's a hacking lever on the flank of the case. The hacking lever allows you to stop the movement, and the reason for that is because the crown is a pusher that does not pull out. The pusher selects the different functions of the watch, highlighted within the aperture under my finger. The watch also has ratcheting lugs, so you can actually see, and I'm going to hold it up to my mic, that the lugs themselves actually articulate to fit your wrist no matter how massive or minuscule. And I can tell you, having tested these watches long-term over weeks at a time, that they fit well on a small wrist, they wear light. You can even see the case back has a little bit of camber to it. It's arced and curved. The case is tripartite. There is a ceramic chocolate smooth bezel on this 2016 limited edition of 150. This is not the original 2014 rose gold. This one is a little bit more discreet. Doesn't say master compressor on the bezel. It features the chocolate ceramic, it features rose gold, and then in profile, you can see the titanium inner chassis protects the movement from shock. It's actually mounted on shock absorbers that isolate the 569-part, 70-joule movement. And of course, let me oblige you, the case back with the winding mass, full bridge, free sprung, very tough. You also pull up these individual, I'm going to show you how this works. You pull up these individual shutters. Let me try to get this in the frame. I'm working on a camera that's not much. Okay. If I still had nails, there you go. Okay. You see how you pull these shutters up and they release the strap. So it has a quick change system for the strap itself. It comes with a rubber accessory, so 100 meters water resistant. You just pull the strap out, and I may as well demonstrate that. And you put the rubber on, you jump in the pool. Now here's the really cool part. The pin buckle of this watch is made of rose gold and titanium. In profile, it has a quick adjustment cam that allows you to move the double ardion in and out for micro sizing. This buckle by itself is a 3,000 euro piece. And the fact that the entire watch can be picked up for under 50 lets you know just how much you're benefiting from JLC's economies of scale. I guarantee you JLC either broke even or lost money on these watches. That's how complex every over-engineered part is. Okay, guys, responding to the questions coming through the chat box. Okay. Eric Nielsen, the ratcheting lugs are fantastic. Eric Nielsen, we have a gang of Zeitwerk fans on Facebook. My question is, what is your anticipated service cost? I'm thinking high four figures. Frankly, I'd be shocked if it's high four figures. I was once quoted a restoration on a Tourbillon by AP for $4,000. So I would say you're probably going to be looking at somewhere in the range of $2,000 to $2,500 to service Zeitwerk. I would be shocked if it's above that. It's not a science project. It's a watch that's been in production since 2009. I think the service cost would be reasonable. Okay, so while I was dismantling my Extreme Lab 2, I should mention it's not the only extreme sports watch we have on the table tonight, as I have the Panerai Bronzo. This is the PAM 382, guys. The Luminor 1950 submersible 3 days PAM 382 Bronzo, the sensation of SIHH 2011. This is the watch that started the modern bronze watch trend. Gerald Genta was the first with the Grafica in the 90s, but this is the watch that gave birth to a million emulators and imitators. First by far and the favorite, this one holds court and lords it over even its bronzo successors at Panerai. Consider the patinaed bronze case. Consider the submersible profile. Consider some of the small and critical decisions that were made. The applied rather than printed or sandwich indices. The fact that they're rose gold. The fact that skeletonized rose gold hands were used at center. And the matte olive drab of the dial, providing both better contrast and a tangible tie to Panerai's nautical history, guys. And of course, being a sports watch, it should wind itself. The 3-day automatic Panerai in-house caliber 9000, free sprung, very tough, bidirectional winding for smoothness, because in the words of Angelo Bonatti, they didn't want that rotor wobble on their in-house calibers. This is a true dive watch, a modern classic, a collector favorite, and although I will rarely use the term, rarely, this is an investment watch in the modern era. Okay, so we're going to give something away now. I've given you an eyeful. Now I'm going to give you something to fill your dresser. This is a Patek Philippe. Let me see if I can figure out how to open it. Watches are no problem, guys. It's all the accessories. All right, perfectly purple. This is a watch themed tie that I believe is made by Hermes for Patek. This is as good as it gets, handmade, beautifully textured with a sort of metallic iridescence to it. This is as nice as Patek ties get. We've got a couple of different versions. The purple is by far my favorite. So while the color may be hard to come by in the world of Patek Philippe, nevertheless, you can dress with style, my man. Purple is one of those au courant colors of the moment, and it even comes in a magnetically fixed Patek Philippe commemorative box. But who won it? Well, Nick P., congratulations, my man. You are taking this thing home, or rather, it is coming home to you. From the Grand Exhibition to your doorstep. We're going to be sending this with love from our Watch You Want Govberg headquarters in Philadelphia. Okay, so moving through the chat box, guys. Nick, congratulations. You're going to love this. I see Mike Joe has joined us, one of our friends from Hawaii, and a fellow JLC collector. I salute you, fellow platinum JLC collector. He owns the Tourbillon GMT. Okay. Don't worry, we've got more stuff to give away, guys. I see comment from QWERTY, tears. Now, okay, guys, here's the thing. I've got some super sport watches, but what about bedrock bread and butter watches from the company that practically invented the genre? Okay, from Rolex, I'm rolling out my personal favorite Milgauss. Well, close. The Z Blue is my personal favorite, but in 2007, when the Milgauss was reborn after a long hiatus dating back to 1988, this watch, the 116400 GV Glace Vert green crystal, caused a sensation. The internet, such as it was at the time, lost its mind. Collectors lost, well, I'm not going to say what they lost, but the bottom line is they got a little bit out of hand. This is the definitive modern Milgauss. The Z Blue is for folks like me who are dandies and like to be a little bit whimsical. This is the one that combines everything. The postmodernist lightning bolt orange seconds hand, the alternating white and orange indices, the orange print, the beautifully symmetrical cruciform symmetry of the no-date, no-rotating bezel Milgauss, the sports watch from Rolex that you're going to wear if you want to wear just one for dress and sports. And of course, that spectacular Rolex green crystal. For those of you who bleed green and have a bit of a raffish modern flair to your personal style, this is the model. Now, of course, as a Milgauss, soft iron cage, it's not precisely a Faraday cage, it's a paramagnetic cage around the movement. That's why there's no date, there's no aperture to break that continuous hermetic seal around the movement. Underneath the case back, Rolex caliber 3131. Because of the absence of a date, this one runs a little bit longer than a standard Rolex movement. Between 48 and 50 hours with the screw-down crown, it's still 100 meters water resistant. And while the Milgauss is sometimes described as an entry-level Rolex, it's anything but. You can see some of the hallmarks of Rolex's upscale bracelet in the contrast between the satin finished and the polished center. You can also see that the clasp, unlike the entry-level Rolex milled clasps, does feature the EasyLink 5mm adjustment system. Take it in, take it out. It gives you the ability to adjust on the fly if your wrist is hot, cold, active, or inactive. And I think it is one of the hidden gems of modern Rolex watchmaking. We talk about the movements, we talk about the cases, and the solidity of the all-solid link bracelets with milled-out clasps. But for me, EasyLink is the best kept secret. Of course, being a Rolex, it's tough. It's a chronometer. It's water resistant. Not only does it have that anti-magnetic cage, but it has an anachronous nickel escapement and a parachrom blue anti-magnetic Breguet overcoil hairspring. This is, in the 10th anniversary of its release, still the Milgauss. Okay, guys. Thumper JDM commenting, I like the blue Milgauss, but not the green. I like them both, but I like the blue better. You and I are of one mind. Okay, so also we have some comments from Vietwin. JLC has so many models I like, but none that I love. My favorite JLC changes all the time. Man, you just got to search the back catalog. The journey to JLC was a long one for me, and there were paths and forks in the road along the way where I could have become a Blancpain, Audemars Piguet, or Zenith collector. And I made the choice after being overwhelmed with the history of JLC and models that I never knew existed when I started my journey. And that's what compelled me in the end. But you know what? We all have to take our individual journeys, and I'm not going to force that upon you. Go in with an open mind and then follow your heart. So the head and the heart leading, but honestly, I think when we talk no-date subs, it's the heart that wins out. This is, for many, the Rolex Submariner. No-date, automatic winding. This is, as you can see, 14060. Now, in a lot of ways, people say this is the sub if you're a purist. Of course, the first subs of 1953 were exactly this layout. They didn't have the Mercedes hands, they didn't have applied white gold indices, and they certainly weren't built to this standard, but this was the essential look that got it right from the get-go. You hand this to a 1953 Rolex Submariner owner, he's going to know exactly what it is, and if you're a Bond aficionado and you want the closest living link to that original Sean Connery Bond Rolex, this is it, guys. Now here's the other thing. Pre-F series, these all featured perforated lugs. Now the nice thing about the perforations is that you can use a pin tool to quickly remove and throw it on a NATO. On these non-supercase Rolex watches, a textile strap, an aftermarket strap, a leather strap, a NATO, they all look right. When you get into the era of the supercase, the Rolex bracelet is so overwhelmingly beautiful, integrated. It's just it's an aesthetic hegemon that doesn't look right when replaced, especially given the gap between the lug size and a fabric strap or a leather strap. If you want to accessorize, you want to go with a perforated lug Rolex, and that was the purpose of the lug perforations in the first place. Now, of course, the supercase is also heavier on the wrist, and it doesn't feature the silky, light, and yes, somewhat rattle-prone original format hollow link Rolex bracelets. Now, this one's a nice combination of hollow end links and hollow center links. So if you want that original Rolex wrist sensation, but you don't want a bracelet that's stretched or worn, this is a great example, and it's one of several available on our websites. This is also one of the best points of entry to Rolex, period. Not so old that you have to worry about vintage fragility or Frankenwatches, and not so new that you have to worry about depreciation. One final Rolex, guys. I think this is probably my favorite family of rotating bezel Rolex sports watches, but this is the now discontinued Datejust Turn-O-Graph. Now, this is the final series Turn-O-Graph before it was discontinued. Let's talk history a little bit. In 1952-53, we first saw the Turn-O-Graph, originally seen as an engineer's watch, a technician's watch, maybe a navigator's watch. It combined the bidirectional, let me show you, rotating bezel, before it debuted on the Rolex Submariner. It beat the Submariner to market by about 1 year. Now here you see that famed final variant of the Turn-O-Graph, now part of the Datejust family, as it has been since the late 1950s. You have a white gold fluted turning bezel that you can use to, and this is what I like to do, I like to align the index with the minute hand. And now I've got an impromptu 0 to 60 analog chronograph with the lower maintenance costs down the line. Look at the flourishes, the red print Turn-O-Graph on the dial, the red seconds hand, the red date wheel, and it is a red date wheel, it's not a roulette. This is as good as it gets if you want a true nerd's Rolex, a purist's timepiece, stealth wealth with the combination of steel and white gold. I believe this is the 116264 white gold and stainless steel. Yes, it has the super case. Yes, it has the latest solid link, solid end link milled out bracelet with Easy Link. These were discontinued after 2010, 2011, and they're already emerging as collector's pieces. This is my favorite rotating bezel Rolex sports watch. And if you're familiar with the Vacheron Constantin Thunderbird, now you know where they got the idea. This watch is also known as the Thunderbird, because during the 50s, this was military issue to the U.S. Air Force Thunderbird's aerobatics team. Okay, guys, so I see some comments coming in. Quick question. This is from Ramon's F2. Tim, quick question. Has picked up a chocolate Reverso tribute to 1931. Sir, I salute you. You have excellent taste. What color Casa Fagliano strap will go well with it, other than stock brown? I would say if you've got that watch, you might want to consider something like black with a very light golden brown stitch, almost gold. Consider it. It's a very striking look that I've seen that I think goes well. Or, and this is if you want to be a little bit edgy, go with a brown strap, but with a double red stitch. double red stitch, just like that Ferrari hat behind me. The combination of the red stitching and the rose gold is stunning, and it's just enough accent to set it off. We've got a giveaway, guys, and the giveaway, per my companion and compatriot, Suja Ket in the corner, Andrew G. in Miami. My heart goes out to my old friends in South Florida. Andrew, guess what you're getting? You're getting a Tag Heuer brimmed hat for fun in the sun where summer never ends. Down in Miami, you'll look stylish wearing this Tag Heuer hat. You can show your colors, two of my favorites. Red and green for the upcoming holiday season, of course, Tag Heuer colors. This is, in my opinion, one of the all-around best guys accessories because we don't have many. Guys, we've got sunglasses, we've got watches, we've got hats, and that's about it. Cufflinks maybe, sometimes pens. This is a great way to spend your time. Keep your brain in, keep the sun out. People always ask me why I wear the glasses on my head. Two reasons. One, my gray matter won't leak out, and two, I won't lose my glasses. So guys, live dashboard questions coming through. Okay, QWERTY opining that ultimate stealth wealth is the Lange 1 perpetual calendar tourbillon. I would also throw in the Richard Lange Pour le Mérite. That's a crazy watch. That's a crazy watch. Or the Richard Lange jumping second. Okay, guys, I'm going to end, as I promised, from AP to Zeitwerk. The Zeitwerk. Now, guys, this is a watch, if any watch has ever justified breaking my mono-brand oath, it's this one. From a brand I love out of Saxony, revived after the fall of the wall, a company that started out hyper-traditional and then went avant-garde. From 2009, the Zeitwerk forced us to change our view of what Lange did, what Lange is, and what Lange can be. Now, this is a jumping digital minute. You're about to watch the minute jump, guys. Don't miss it, because when the seconds hand crosses the threshold of 60, watch what happens. Bum, bum, bum. That's right. Digital minutes, tens of minutes, and hours, all from a manual wound work of art, the likes of which you will not see outside the bounds of glasuta. This is hand engraved, hand finished, handmade. You can see this is not a Geneva stopworks, a glasuta stopworks, on a barrel holding so much energy the mainspring could put your eye out. Winding a Zeitwerk is one of the great tactile experiences in high horology, like operating the pushers on a Patek Philippe 5170 or adjusting the internal rotating bezel of that AP diver. The sensation must be felt to be believed. Now, there is a constant force system here, like the Remontoir on F.P. Journe's tourbillon, but in a different fashion. Instead of a linear spring, we have a coil between two third wheels, downwind, and it is downwind, of an air brake that separates the power of the mainspring and the jump minutes from the train of the Remontoir time bridge. It's got a train with a separate pallet and jewels, two third wheels with a spring in between them, transmitting power down to the balance, oscillating at a charming and traditional 18,000 vibration per hour. German silver, it's nickel copper, beautifully made, three-quarter style bridges, a feast for the eyes, hand-engraved escape wheel cock and balance cock, heat-blued, kiln-fired screws, and black-polished swan's neck. If you're going to end with fireworks, guys, and with the Zeitwerk here on this table in rose and white gold, we have fireworks, the likes of which would shame the 4th of July. Guys, it's 7 o'clock, and I'm sorry we're done for now, but this has been fun. I've never done live watch reviews. I've never done a live chat while showcasing our inventory. I had fun with this. I hope you did. To everyone, Edward, Neuro, 130E, QWERTY, Alexi, Andrew, everyone who joined us, thank you. If you won, congratulations. If not, we're going to be back when I return from Geneva with another edition of Watches Live. You'll see it right here on Watch You Want Watch Reviews. Subscribe.